Alright. With that said, welcome to JAMUP number 20. I am Mark Thomas. This is MMA superstar Jeff Lights Out Hughes and special guest Evan Wiley, a.k.a. Black Dust.
A.k.a. Black Dust, too.
Yeah. And this is episode number 20 of JAMUP.
This is a special episode.
It is.
Yeah. We're going to get, we won't jump too far ahead, but we're going to get more serious this episode. But we're still going to run it like we always do and just bullshit for an hour and a half.
For sure. That's how we do. It's a garbage truck on fire. But an entertaining garbage truck on fire.
That's impressive, 20 episodes.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
It's the second best I've ever done when it comes to a podcast. Because Jay and Mark did 40 episodes.
Did they really?
Yeah, well, like I said, 3 of them were best of episodes.
Oh, okay.
But
still,
that's the most we've ever done.
37 episodes, that's a lot.
But, yeah, JAMUP is going to beat that shit, though, for sure.
We got this for the next lot of years, so.
Yeah.
Not to jump ahead, but that sounds like my days of sobriety. That's the furthest I've ever made.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, by the way.
Thank you.
For sure. I guess we can get right into it. What's been up with Evan is the topic I wrote down.
What's been up with Evan? It's what like 10, 15 people want to know. I didn't want to say the world wants to know.
Yeah.
Well, I was kind of going over things. I don't know how much you guys want me to go into detail.
We want you to start from the beginning.
Yeah, as much as you want.
Make sure you put the AHW title in the picture, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we got 2 champs on this episode.
My belt's more impressive.
For sure.
That's probably the most coveted one out of all of us.
Can you see that there?
But yeah.
I guess I could just go through what I was going through with Jeff about the past year, because it's actually right about a year. I'll start the end of December last year. So this is all about my drinking. I'm an alcoholic. Hi, my name's Evan. I'm an alcoholic. There we go.
Hi, Evan.
Hi.
Amongst other drug addictions and things like that. But basically, for the past so many years, I've been having family and friends tell me I need to get help. Especially, like I hang out with Jeff here, and when he tells me I need help, and when, other guys like Jared and Josh tell me I need help, guys that I drink with, and I'm watching them, I've been watching them since I'm in my young 20s, drink and do beer bongs and have parties, and then they're telling me I need help. It's like, I guess I probably need help if I'm going beyond those limits. So, I won't go too crazy in the past, but I've lost numerous jobs and things from due directly to drinking. Some of them because I was drinking on the job, and some of them just because I was negligent and started calling off work because of drinking and things. So finally I lost a job last December due to drinking. I came home from that job just completely wasted because, of course, I went to the bar after I lost the job. Got even more intoxicated. Came home, got in a huge blow-up fight with my parents. At this point I have 3 DUIs. Always back living with my parents in the basement because every time I save up money, you get in trouble, legal trouble, things like that.
It all costs a lot of money, too, because I've been there.
You have right?
Yeah, I have one that was might as well call it a super DUI.
Yeah, super. All 3 of mine are super.
Yep. At least you're consistent.
I'm very consistent, always over point too. It's up there. It's bad. But this was kind of like what I thought was the final straw, I guess, this time, because I got in this huge fight. I mean, even going into like religion and things, the things that I was out of my mind drunk. I think it ended with me falling down the basement steps.
Oh, shit.
And landing pretty much on my head.
Damn.
And they said, I don't remember it, but they said I shut up then and went over and went to bed.
Wow.
That ended the argument.
You
pretty much knocked yourself out.
Yeah.
Which is probably the last thing you should do right after knocking.
Right after, I could be concussed.
Yeah.
I had a lump on my head the next day, I remember, and that day I told my parents that I wanted help, and I said, okay, I finally was admitting I needed help. I had known I was an alcoholic for a while. I wasn't fighting that anymore. I had been already in and out of treatment, but they were always like forced treatments. Like I went to jail and I went through the AOD program. Am I putting you to sleep?
That's just Walt breathing.
Yeah.
So, I knew when I heard other people's stories, I was like, that sounds a lot like mine. I'm obviously an alcoholic. But the thing with this disease, and I call it a disease, I won't even get into that, but I have reasons why I call it a disease, because I've actually watched videos and things about the brain, what parts of the brain it affects. I believe that it is a disease. But beyond that, one of the things with it is we always try to say that we can control it, because we forget the pain that we go through when we're really bad. It's just like pregnancy. They say if a woman remembered child labor like exactly, that they would never want to have another kid.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the pain. But our body, our genetic makeup is so insane that our brains are able to forget. So I forget. I'm like, it wasn't really that bad when I was going through withdrawal, was it? I mean, it was bad for maybe a day, but then it was okay. If I just drink on the weekends, I'll be okay. I do this all the time, and we just rationalize with ourselves. And so anyway, I'm getting way off track here.
No, keep going.
No,
This is good. No, this is really
some
good.
insight here. I like it.
Yeah.
So basically, I finally said I needed help. So I went to Ignatia Hall. Awesome place. It's got a lot of history with AA because, AA started in Akron, Ohio. So with
We're
Bob.
sister town, sister city.
Ignatia and all that stuff. So it's a great place, but I was just doing outpatient. So I was going 4 days a week for like 3-hour sessions, and they were like small groups. We had family nights. It was really good, and I stayed sober. I was like, finally, this was the first time, this is last January, and I think this is the first time I was actually committed to getting sober. Like all the other times I was like, yeah, I know I need to quit, I need to cool down, but I never wanted to quit all the way. And this time I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So I got over 30 days sober. I was doing good, but I still struggled with I'm never ever going to have a drink in my life again. That's the hardest part for me. So, they drill all these stupid sayings in your head, like one day at a time. Don't look at the big picture like that. Just one day at a time. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm finally, now I am doing that one day at a time. Now when somebody asks, like if you ask me today, are you ever going to drink again? I'm not going to tell you no. I could drink tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know. And kind of part of what works for me is I tell myself, if I do good today, and this sounds so stupid, sounds so childish, but I tell myself, if I do good today and make it through today, I can have a drink tomorrow. And I've heard people say that, and I was like, that's not going to work. It kind of works. So I tell myself, I can have a drink tomorrow. And then I wake up tomorrow, and I go, same thing.
Yeah, it's like Joe's Crab Shack or something.
Right.
Free crab tomorrow.
And exactly.
No, I can relate to that just from, like, when I have a fight coming up, I have to eat right. If I do good for the next 5 days, I'm going to celebrate and go eat a pizza or go wild. And then when that day comes, I'm like, I get on the scale or whatever, and I'm like, I'm happy with that number. I don't need that pizza. That's how I kind of relate to that.
That's what they tell me to do, and they say eventually, once you get a year in or 2 years, then the desire to drink and the cravings are going to start fading too. I mean, I don't think they're ever going to completely go away.
No.
But I just, at this point, I try to tell myself, I don't look at it like that anymore of, am I ever going to drink again? Instead, I go, maybe a year from now, I'm going to go on a date with a girl or something, and maybe we are going to have drinks, and maybe I'll be able to handle it. Will I be able to handle it? Probably not. But that's how I'm looking at it in my head. Maybe I will, and maybe I will drink. Maybe I'll drink 10 days from now. I don't know.
Right.
But I know today I'm not planning on drinking.
Yeah, that's weird. That's something you don't really think about when it comes to like alcoholism. Like, what it's going to be like to date someone that drinks or that has a drink. Like, what if you?
Right.
Some people, I'm sure, like just like kissing someone who has alcohol, like on their lips or in their mouth or something, like that might trigger them. You know what I mean?
I mean, there are all kinds of triggers like that. And like for me, in the last like few years, I've dated girls. Well, I've destroyed so many relationships that really had never even had a chance to get started, because like I've went out with a couple different girls in the last few years that I knew from back in high school, that I believe probably had crushes on me. They were younger than me, in high school because they had a different image of what I was.
Yeah.
And of course, what do you do when you go on a date? You go to a bar, you go to a movie, and then you go to dinner, you go to the bar.
There's usually alcohol involved.
There's alcohol involved.
Most of the time, like that's like that liquid courage people need to like meet new people and shit.
I need to get a couple drinks in me to
Right.
get to be able to talk and be Evan Wiley.
Yeah.
And so then within a few dates, I think they start realizing he might have a problem.
Yeah.
You know, like, it was fun the first couple dates. He's a lot of fun. But I think he takes it a little bit too far. Because then we go back to their house, and I'm still drinking. And they're done.
And they're ready to shut down for the night.
Yeah, they're ready to either go to bed and go to sleep or, you know, something else.
Right.
But and I'm still, I got to go to the bathroom real quick, run in the kitchen and grab a drink. And, I mean, I can't tell you how many girls I've hid, like, that know we're drinking together that night, and I'm still hiding drinks from them.
Yeah.
Right. It became a habit almost.
Oh, yeah. That's like part of my everyday routine is hiding how much I'm drinking. When you're going places that are for drinking and you're still hiding what you're drinking, it's pretty bad.
Right.
I'll even say this past summer I went to Jared's and brought a 12-pack with me. And I was going in his house and getting in my book bag and drinking. I had a thing of apple Crown,
Right.
and I was taking shots when nobody was around.
On top of the 12 beers that
top
you were
of the
planning on
beer.
drinking.
Yep.
So you had like pre-planned like hiding.
I had everything.
That fucking book bag
Wow.
was the downfall first off.
Oh, I've got it in your car. No,
No,
I'm just-
I will fucking smash that thing right now.
I like it.
the book bag.
Yeah.
That should be like the name of your biography, the book bag.
The book bag.
Yeah, that makes sense. Chapter 1, Car Bar. The creator of
The
the car bar.
People know the car bar, and that the sad thing about the car bar is I was doing that after my first DUI and after my second DUI. After my second DUI, people at one job knew me. I worked with a lot of young kids at Incept. I say young kids, I was young too, but I was in my late 20s, and a lot of them were in their early 20s, and they knew when we go out to like First Friday or go to the bars in downtown Canton. Evan's got a car bar. He's got a couple bottles in his car. It got to the point where because I was known for it, I'd get like different stuff because I wanted to be the cool guy.
Started buying into it.
Yeah, I've got the car bar. Let's go.
I think
guys.
that honestly was a big factor, and maybe the beginning was that you were the party guy. You were the Michelangelo of the group, and we all had so much fun doing, getting you riled up and getting you to the epoch level. And I think it was like it, and I think we're part to blame too for everything, because we like would feed into it, and then like you had a hard time shutting it off, and we were like, okay, it's time to chill the fuck out, and you were like, no, I'm turned up now. I'm ready to go.
I mean, you guys can't blame yourselves. I mean, absolutely, those are true stories. But like, I was gonna get there one way or the other. Right. I just enjoyed. I was just in rehab with a guy who was also a musician, like myself. Only he was a lot more accomplished musician than me. He actually played in a pretty big band called Satire. I don't think he'll mind that I throw that out there.
Plug it.
And they played. I mean, he opened up for bands like Better Than Ezra in the '90s and the Goo Goo Dolls.
Oh wow.
Those are big bands.
Yeah, he was doing it like at a young age, and he said like his first addiction, and this stuck with me. He was a big talker in rehab. He had a lot of good insight. Was applause. That was the first thing, and I really related to that. Like you were saying, you guys would get me riled up. I like the attention.
Right.
I love the attention.
Never shied away from a camera.
It's funny now in sobriety, I get nervous before things like this. I get really nervous. Like you're like, we're gonna talk about. You can go ahead and take the mic, and I'm like,
no, you're doing
shy.
great though. This is. I like hearing this. I honestly do.
For sure.
It's totally a different, like, I don't know. It's different because before I'd just be like, just throw everything out there, throw my life out there, and I didn't care. But it's harder to talk about this stuff, I guess. There's Walt again.
Yeah, he's chiming in. He'll chime in from time to time.
I guess to get back on track with last year, and I'm sure you can edit some of this out if I drag on too long about this stuff. But so I went to this IOP. I did well. after we finished the 4 weeks, we went to something called Relapse Prevention Program, where I just basically checked back into Ignatia Hall once a week, every Thursday, and had a different counselor. I still saw all the same people. I have great relationships still right now with these people up at Ignatia Hall, the counselors there. I love them. I love that place. And I relapsed a couple times while I was going to this relapse prevention program. I guess everybody kind of has a different idea of what a relapse is. Some people say it's just when you pick up a drink again. Some people say there's something called a prelapse. You might go have a couple drinks and you kind of catch yourself. And
before it gets too bad again.
Yeah, some people say a relapse is you actually start binging again. Yeah. I definitely relapsed. I was drinking again. But I told on myself these couple times that I did that. I told on myself there, which was very different for me. I was really trying to work on being honest because, when we become addicts, we become liars, like, big time.
It goes hand in hand.
It goes hand in hand. You kind of have to learn how to lie because you're telling your family and your friends that, you're doing things better and you're not. And so you become a good liar. You become good at hiding things. And then you catch yourself lying about things that aren't important. So my one counselor, she was not an addict, but her husband was. So she went to Al-Anon. Her husband's been clean 9 years, and she says still to this day they'll have a conversation, and she'll ask him a stupid question like, "What'd you do today?" And he'll start to say something, and then he'll stop, and he'll go, I don't know why I said that. I didn't do that. This is what I did. And it's just because
it's instinct at this point.
It's instinct to cover up.
You don't think about stuff like that when
not at all.
When you hear addict, you think of lying and like pulling the wool over people's eyes, but you don't think of after they get help that it's still part of them.
It's kind of ingrained in your brain. I think it's something you can get over time. But I catch myself doing stupid stuff. I'll talk to my parents sometimes, and I've even caught myself with my parents, and I'll be like, I don't know why I said that. Like, I'm just so used to hiding everything from them.
Right. That's wow. I wouldn't even think of that, to be honest.
To quote Eddie Guerrero, the lying, cheating, and stealing. That's what I did. Yeah. My stealing was always a light stealing, but stealing is stealing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But my thing, I don't know, Jeff, you probably knew, I like to steal change.
Yeah.
Wow.
I heard the story, and that's not, we don't have to go into it, but that's when I heard, I was like, all right, something has to change here. And it wasn't like, at no point did I say, well, it's time to write Evan off, because I understand that there's an issue here. That he didn't want to do this, but he felt the need, he had to do this. And that's why I said, we can't write him off. We cannot write him off.
It'd be to the point where I wasn't working, because I could never hold down a job, and I'd want a bottle. So everywhere I go, if people leave loose change around, I was taking it, I was pocketing it. Some people kind of knew. I think, like, I took change from your place, your apartment. I think you kind of knew and didn't really care because you always had change scattered everywhere.
I'm Richard Hughes' son. You wouldn't have to work if you went to his house.
And my buddy Corey, he kind of knew that I did it at his house, and he would even tell me, like, I helped them move one day, and he was like, there was just change under everything. He goes, you can keep all the change that you find. What was bad is when I go into, like, Jared, we all know, I'd actually go into his change jar and take change out and try to make it not noticeable. And my parents were the worst. Anytime. My parents don't keep change out anymore. My parents don't leave money around.
They can't. I mean, not saying they can't, but the temptation is always going to be there, probably. Right. Just even if it's not for anything, it's like, oh, that's something that you're used to doing.
They completely don't trust me to... And it's sad, you go around people that you love, and I always feel like now I'm overcompensating when I'm around people, like going, like, look where I'm going, watch me, because I feel like people constantly think I'm up to something, like they're watching.
I never got that from you, but when I did hear the change thing, I said, now we're just gonna have to watch it close, like it can't become a habit of where. And we can't set you up. We can't go, okay, here's $5 on the dresser, like, let's see if he takes it. Because, that's just that's not going to do anything. We know there's a problem here, and instead of trying to cause a bigger problem, let's try to fix it. Let's try to help him fix it. So
Yeah, in my head, I never wanted to hurt that person. I was never trying to take from somebody that was like, I would do it, and that's why I did it in little amounts like that, because I'm just like, they're not going to notice this is good.
Right. They're not going to miss this $4 in quarters.
Yeah.
Right. I get it.
But
completely.
It just gets worse and worse as it goes, and then it becomes a habit. But anyway, to get back on track, I relapsed there, but I told on myself. I still was trying to get help. My parents actually started coming around a lot more in this past year because they know I'm actually trying to get help. My mom went from I don't understand why you drink. I don't understand why you do drugs. I don't understand why you do this. It doesn't make sense to me. Why do you want to put a chemical into your body that messes you up and is bad for you in every way? I just don't get it. To now, she's went to some of the family sessions. She understands it's something in the brain, and she sees that for the first time I actually want to get help, and so she's a little bit more understanding. She's still tired of going through it, and I'm thankful that I have a place to stay right now while I'm trying to get my feet back on the ground. But at any time, if I screw up, they'll
that could be it.
Kick me to the curb.
That's another thing that could help motivate you to stay like, oh fuck, like this is it.
This is it. Anytime I go to leave the house now, it's like, where are you going? And I can sit here all day and say I'm in my 30s and my parents are questioning where I'm going. Like that's so messed up. But the reason why is because if I come back in a different state and they know I'm starting up again, they have every right to tell me I can't live there. They're giving me a place to stay. So,
yeah.
I mean, I kind of have come around to see it in their eyes too, because I was 20 times more independent 10 years ago than I am now.
Yeah, you had your own. I
had my own place.
Yeah.
Relationships I could hold down, jobs I could hold down a little better. But it's a progressive disease. That's what they say. People would always tell me, you'd go to these AA meetings and hear people speak, and they'd always say it's a progressive disease. It gets worse. And I'd go, that doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, maybe the physical stuff like your liver gets worse. Those things get worse. But the disease, like I still go out. I can take a month off and go out, and it's still the same. I just get drunk. It's the same.
Right.
No, it does get worse. It's weird. Before, I could drink for years, before I started going through these withdrawals and things. Now I can go out, and within 2 weeks, I'm back withdrawing again. It like progresses in your brain. I don't know if it's because I drink more now to get to it. I'm always chasing that first drink.
Right.
When I drink now, I take a shot of whiskey, and it feels good. First couple shots, and I'm into it, that warm feeling, and then the rest of the time I'm drinking, I'm chasing that buzz.
Right.
It's kind of like cocaine,
We've all done cocaine.
Yeah.
Okay, we've all done coke. You're always chasing that initial high you get from coke. You're like chasing that buzz
All night.
Yeah, soon as it
Yeah.
starts to feel a little bit like it's wearing off, you're like, where's another bump?
That's why it's so addicting.
Right.
Like,
When with alcohol, it wasn't always that way. It felt like you could just drink so much in a night and be done. But now I'm constantly chasing that buzz to where I've had 10 shots, 12 shots, and, I still want more.
Right.
I have to, tell myself, just go to bed,
Yeah.
And there for a while, there was no shut-off switch. Your shut-off switch was your body literally going, I can't do that anymore tonight. We got to go to bed. Or falling down the stairs and falling on your head.
Yeah, knocking
Absolutely.
yourself
Jeff, I can probably tell a story, and this is 10 years ago, 9 years ago in my apartment when we were all fighting MMA style in my kitchen.
out. Jesus.
Yeah.
And I just wouldn't quit. I had been going all night, and I kept wanting to fight, and I'm getting beat up. And we're not fighting for real. We're
putting him in submissions. He's tapping out, and then 3 minutes later, he's like, let's go again. I'm like, no, I have rug burn. Leave me alone.
Josh, I think, finally, I don't remember. I was blacking out, but Josh, didn't he finally tell you, okay, put him out?
Yeah.
And
I didn't, though. I didn't.
Well,
maybe I did. I don't know.
You gave me a couple swift shots that I was done. It was enough. I think I had a little bruising on my side the next day, and I was like, all right, I'm going to bed.
Shit.
But there were nights like that, or Jared's. I don't really want to get into this, but Jared's bachelor party. We all know what a wreck I was at that.
Yeah, and it was weird because we were having such a good time, and once again we were egging you on, keep drink. Oh, go play beer pong by yourself. Let's see how funny it gets. And then when it got to that point, we were like, we don't want this to happen anymore. And it was like, oh well, tough shit. We started this. We made this happen because we kept going, drink more.
I think that was one of the markers, was Jared's bachelor party when my friends started getting sick of me acting like that.
Right.
And then so I stopped hanging out with you guys so much and started hanging out with just people I knew from the bars because they accepted me more.
Because they understood, because they could do the same thing. And
Yeah.
It got
like,
so
could
bad.
be me tonight, you know.
It got so bad that in the last couple of years, guys that I hung out with that were my bar friends, just my bar friends, I noticed I wasn't really getting invited back to the after parties anymore. They wouldn't say anything. They'd still be happy to see me when I came in the bar and stuff.
Right.
But I felt like the last couple times I was drinking that I didn't really get an invite back, and I was like,
The wheels started turning.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Started
they're
connecting them
sick
dots.
of me
you're
getting
and
sloppy
I'm telling you
drunk.
right now, you're sober. You're the funnest guy. The first couple hours of drinking, you're definitely the funnest guy in the party. And then after that, it becomes, well, now we got to babysit Evan because you took that to the next extreme. I knew at Jared's bachelor party when Josh took it too far with you, obviously, and I kind of was like, okay, that's enough of this. And then when you went outside and you were trying to leave and you were looking for your car and you're standing in the middle of the road going, I can't find my car, and it was literally 4 feet to your right. I was like, okay, we did something wrong here.
Yeah, that's a red flag for sure.
Yeah.
That is a red flag.
You came, I'll never forget though. I was so mad at you, and I shouldn't have been, but I was so mad at you. The next morning, I'm leaving. You open your door, you pop your head out, you start giving the Evan Wiley grin. I go, don't even fucking look at me right now. I'm mad at you, and you're like, you just close the door back. You're like, all right, fine. I was so mad.
I'm trying to figure out why everybody's mad at me because it's all still coming back to me.
Exactly. You're putting the pieces together, and you're like, oh, it wasn't that bad, and then it was like,
Yeah, in my head it wasn't bad at all.
right. I will admit though, you were never, ever once a violent person drunk.
Well, that's what I said too. I've gotten in some arguing matches with my family before, and with some friends too. Obviously, that night I got into it with Josh. We had some stuff, which I apologize sincerely, Josh.
Well, he was just as enough to blame.
We kind of had a little build going. Since then, we've been completely back to our old friendship.
Normal.
So, but I never wanted to get violent. Usually I was a pretty happy drunk.
You were always a very happy drunk that I've always dealt with.
I got to the point where
Walter, relax.
I don't know what I'm barking at, but I'm barking.
I just got to the point where I was just completely sloppy all the time.
Right.
I was that guy that when we were younger, we looked at and we're like, I'm never going to be that guy. Like,
Right.
I'm
I'll never
always
wake
gonna
up
be
and
fun.
drink in the morning.
Yeah.
You kidding me? No.
I'm always going to be the fun drunk. Because, you guys weren't babysitting me when we were in our young 20s, and even though I was wasted, but we were all and it was just fun. I wasn't falling over and sloppy and.
Well, you had that
shut
shut-off switch back then. Like, it was like, okay, we're all crashing. Let's crash.
Let's crash.
Yeah.
Somewhere along the line that changed for me.
Right.
So anyway, finally got to the point after I finished there. I went on vacation with my family. Things were good for a while, and it didn't take me long before I picked up again. Did the whole I'm going to control it again. Went a little bit, controlling it, just drinking on the weekends. I told myself all the time, just don't drink the next morning. When you wake up and you feel hangover, let that hangover happen.
Right.
Don't try to kill it off. Sure enough, I just slowly started drinking all the time again, drinking every day, to the point where I'd get up in the morning and I'd have another drink before I went to work just to cool off. Like, it got to the point where I was going to work and I'd be typing on my keyboard and my hands were just physically, I could see them shaking.
Wow.
And it was because I was going through withdrawal.
Of that short amount of time.
That short amount of time. I would just be coming off like a 3-day bender. Say I started drinking Friday or Saturday night, and then I drank all day Sunday pretty much. Hiding it from people or thinking I was hiding it. I used to get away with it. Now they know. They just kind of like let it happen.
Live with it.
Yeah. And then I'd get to work and I'd just be shaking. So it gets so bad I'd take alcohol to work. I put it in my Gatorade or whatever, and just when no one's looking, pop it, because at this point I'm just trying to maintain. I'm not even trying to get drunk at work. I'm trying to hit that. If I can get enough in me to be able to breathe and relax and not feel like I'm about to have an anxiety attack, then I'm set. And then an hour later or so, I need another drink.
Right.
Yeah.
It got to the point where I'm going on my lunch break, and I'm walking from my work down to the bar.
On a lunch break.
On a lunch break.
30-minute
Half hour. I have a half hour. And I'd look around, see if anybody's watching from the building, and I'd walk. They might just think I'm going to the gas station to get something. I'd walk all the way to the bar. I'd go in. I'd say, give me a tall beer and a shot of Crown. I'd get it, take the shot of Crown, chase it with the beer. I'd go into the bathroom, take my bathroom break, because it is my lunch break, come out, give me another shot, take that shot down, finish my beer, walk out, and I got to get back. I got to zoop back to work. So I've gotten like 2 big, nice bar shots in me just to level me out.
Right.
And I'm like good again. A couple hours later at work, I need something else. I started taking those 5-hour energies and filling them up, like a couple shots in those.
Oh, wow. Clever.
Yeah. I mean, that's the way we get.
It is clever, but that. At what point were you pouring the shots into the 5-hour energy drinks? Going, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Whenever I'd get off these binges and come to, I'd be like, I look back and all I feel is shame. I'm just completely embarrassed of my behavior. What am I doing trying to lose another job? So I almost lost this job because I ended up in this. For the first time, I went to the hospital because my counselor at Ignatia told me, you need to quit going through this withdrawal at home. She's like, you can die, you can start having seizures when it's that bad. I'm having the DTs, the tremors.
Explain what that is.
A delirium tremor, I believe, is how you say it. But it's basically you're going through withdrawal so bad, so I'll be laying in bed, and as soon as I try to relax, I'll have one of these like moments, and then all night I'm trying to fall asleep and I'm doing this like uncontrollably.
Wow.
Not just like hand shaking, but like it's an actual jolt.
Right. Your body is your nervous system's freaking out right now.
Right, because it needs alcohol.
And in your brain how to make that go away.
Exactly.
And that's to take a couple shots.
Yeah, it's like a dog that you tell, you're gonna feel better if you do this.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Wow.
Give me that alcohol.
Yep.
And I'm just prolonging the hangover to when I finally stop, it's so bad that I feel like I'm gonna die. And I woke up the one day and I told my parents, I called off like a couple days in a row, and I said I can't go to work. I'm withdrawing. I had in the years leading up to this, I had looked up what withdrawal is on the internet because I thought I was feeling it, and I knew I was full blown feeling it. I went to Altman, was in the hospital for 3 days. I couldn't believe that I kept my job. My boss let me keep it. I was pretty honest with him. He pretty much knew what was going on. I don't know that if he told the higher-ups or not. I went to school to be a counselor, so he's like, if you need any help.
He understood better than most people would.
Very, very nice to me. He said, hey, you do good work for me. I want to keep you on, but you need to get help. So I went back to Ignatia. I was completely done, graduated through the program at Ignatia Hall. I went back. I had some people come in, peer support, into the hospital, talk to me. They said, do you want to get into a program? I said, yeah, I'd like to go back here because I felt comfortable there. Went back, starting all over again. This is August now, and I'm starting all over again. Now I've been in the hospital for this disease. I'm done.
Yeah.
Right.
So I go back through, and another 30, 40 days sober, 50 days. I think I was like really close to that 60-day. In fact, I might have even got my 60-day. I don't know if I got my 60-day chip. But anyway, sure enough, I just started, I'm back in the relapse prevention program, and it's like I don't have any accountability or something. I'm only going once a week. And it starts happening. I'm going to AAs, and then I slowly stop going to AA. You know, my parents will be like, do you need to go to a meeting? I don't feel like it. Because I honestly don't feel like it. It's like going to the gym.
Yeah.
Right.
Once I'm there,
You're
fine.
happy you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Once I'm there, I'm good. I'm playing a video game right now, or I'm resting. Especially now, I'm working full time. So I was working 9 to 5, going to the outpatient program till like 8. I wasn't getting home till like 9 o'clock.
It's
at
a
night.
full day.
Yeah, it's a full day.
You get no rest time.
I'm like, I'm not going to AA after that. So I'd go to AA the days that I was off, or but like that slowly slowed down. Everything slowed down, and I start drinking again. So I was basically back to drinking. I don't know where we're at, like September, October. Probably about October, I'm back to drinking kind of again, trying to control it again. I don't know, when was your House of Hughes thing?
November, right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I can't remember the day or the
I
date.
think it was right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was doing good. I was going to work, and I actually had some people behind me. I had a good friend at work. She was real supportive of me. She gave me, when I got 30 days, she gave me a 6-pack of Yahoo and was like, here's for 30 days.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and like all you guys always gave me encouraging words, and you guys always say we'll hang out, we won't drink, and I'd always be like, it's me that I want to go drink. I associate everything with drinking. My whole world is planned around drinking. When am I going to get it? How am I going to get the money to get it? How am I going to get there to get it? Because I'm not driving. And all these things are caused, not having money and not being able to drive are all caused from drinking. Yeah, I'm still planning all these things out to get my alcohol, and then when can I drink and for how long, and it's an obsession. So anyway, I had another real bad slip up. I mean, I was already drinking again, but I had a really bad binge again, where I had to call off work again. And my parents knew it. I admitted to them. I went through the withdrawal at home. I didn't want to go back to the hospital.
Which has to be even harder.
It's hard. I've done this 3 or 4 times now, going through it at home, and it's just awful. All I can do is lay on the couch, and then I stand up and pace, because when I lay down, I start shaking, and I'm just walking around. I try to drink water. I can barely choke down water.
Right. Everything's gagging you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even those times when I would drink alcohol in the morning, sometimes I had to gag it down because I couldn't drink anything. But I knew if I got it in me, I was going to feel okay to make it through that day.
Yeah.
And
Jesus.
It got to the point where, I went through this withdrawal. I think that's when I told you guys, I had told Josh, I was like, hey, man. And he told me he'd tell all you guys. I was like, I'm not going to be able to make it to Jeff's thing. I thought I was going to be able to go. I thought I could go, either not drink or maybe even have a few beers, because I had already started drinking again, and be fine. But I went through this withdrawal, and I was like, there's no way.
It was a shit show. It would have been the worst place for you to
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's probably a good thing you didn't go.
I probably
would
would
have
have
wasted.
I would have been drinking. You guys would have lost track of what I was drinking, because
Right.
you guys were all drunk, and I would have.
It was bad.
I would have been drinking whatever liquor was
Definitely.
You
there.
would
Yeah.
sneak into the
Yes.
backpack. and shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you guys are all drinking, so how are you going to keep track of what I'm
Exactly.
doing?
Exactly.
And it's not your job to. you know.
No.
And
it was yeah. I know exactly what you. It would have been the worst possible place for you to be.
it would have
Yeah.
been bad. So, sure enough, I cancel that, and I don't drink that weekend. I was kind of upset that I didn't get to go and stuff. Oh, even though I knew it was my fault. But within a week again, I'm drinking again. So the day after Thanksgiving, I told Jeff I kind of tried to go out the night before Thanksgiving, and it was like my dad knew, and my brother knew, my little brother knew, I was trying to leave, and they just, in a nonchalant way, kept me from leaving.
Yeah,
You know,
they didn't want you to go drink.
They're like, my dad kept going, we're going to have family over tomorrow and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go out Friday night. So I went out Friday night, and this is how bad it was. I asked my dad to take me to an AA meeting, and I went to the AA with full intention of getting drunk after.
Wow.
I didn't go to the AA meeting drunk. I was respectful. I went there, sat there. I took my book bag. I told my dad I would get a ride home. I said I was doing something. I was going over to a friend's, and I said, I'm not going to be drinking. I'm just going to go over and hang out, and I'll be home tonight. Well, I went straight from the AAA, bought like 2 huge bottles of whiskey. Because at this point, when I drink, even when I haven't been drinking, I drink. I know what I need,
Right.
and I don't want to get something that where I'm gonna run out and need more.
Yeah.
Because what if I need this now? Once I start going through, this is how sick I am. So I buy 2 like of the 1.75 liter jugs.
Yeah.
Of you saw me take those out. Now I'm buying 2 at a time.
Damn.
So I have
Which
backup.
one is enough to drop a horse.
Right. Of this cheap Canadian gold whiskey.
Oh, God.
And so I buy 2 bottles, put them in my book bag, and I go to the Landmark, and I just start drinking.
Which is, to let everybody know, is right around the corner from your parents' house, which
Right,
is a
so-
ballsy move.
Right. But I know I can walk there and back.
Yeah, that's true.
But when they
can
closed-
also stop in because that's the first place they're going to look.
Yeah.
Right. It wasn't even enough when they closed. I Ubered somewhere else. I think I went to the Red Dog by myself.
Right.
I found friends there.
That's a
I'm
much
drinking.
farther walk too.
I Ubered home.
Oh, gosh.
I don't remember really going home. Barely touched the bottles I bought that night, but then, sure enough, now it's Saturday.
It's there.
I'm full go.
Yeah.
Right.
I had to work on Sunday, but Saturday I'm off. And I think went to the comic book store with my brothers. And I wasn't drunk when I went. I woke up feeling, and I had like 1 or 2 to level me out.
Right.
What comic book store?
Bill's Books.
Love Bills.
I love Bill's
Love
Books.
Bills. Bill's good, dude. What's up, Bill? Sorry, I just had
Maybe
to
he'll
know.
watch this.
Maybe he should.
Plug Bill's. Go to
Let's
Bill's
some more.
Books.
6th Street in Canton, people. Love that place. Anyway,
I was
sorry.
probably buzzing when I went there, but just more maintaining. My brothers didn't say anything. I don't think they knew. They might have had a hunch, but nothing big. And I waited through most of that day. I think was pretty good, and just started pounding again at night.
Because now you have a gallon of whiskey.
I've got a
at your
gallon of
disposal
whiskey,
right
yeah.
there.
So I'm pounding that night, and now I got to work on Sunday. I went to work on Sunday and Monday. This is the week after Thanksgiving. I went to work just drunk. I mean, they had to know. I'm going in and I'm just trying to maintain. And the thing is, at work, when I'm like that, I'm just anxious. Like I just have the anxiety. Just get me through this day. Rather than being able to focus on my job, I'm just like, get me through this day.
I get that.
Everything I do, every conversation I have with somebody there, everything I'm typing on the keyboard, I'm just like, just get me through. Just get me through. Somehow I do it. I don't know how.
It's impressive.
And I went home those nights and just kept drinking. I think it was... So I went Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Again, I had gotten to that point. I hadn't finished everything yet. Usually I wait till I'm completely out of alcohol. But I knew I was like... I told my parents again, I'm withdrawing again. And they're like, well, we knew this was coming. We could tell the last couple days when you came home from work that you weren't in good shape. When I'm coming home from work and
Right.
they can tell.
Yeah.
I look like
coming
I'm
home
coming
from the bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, sure enough, I tell them Tuesday, I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta go to the hospital. I go back to Altman. I don't know if they didn't want to keep me there again or what. At this point, I'm still kind of drunk, but I'm already going through the withdrawal symptoms. And, they gave me some medicine, some different things. They gave me some Librium, some Vistarol, Ativan, those kind of things, just to kind of keep me leveled out. And they bring in peer support again. I talked to this lady I know through Task, a really nice lady. Her name is Becky. I'm kind of leaving it in her hands at this point because I'm just out of it to like find me a place. She was like, do you want to do? She's like, I think you need to go to inpatient, which is, I'm actually living at
the
place.
facility.
I'm like, okay. So she gets me hooked up. She's calling all these numbers for me. Nice person. She's just calling everywhere.
She's trying to get you help.
Yeah. So she finds this place called New Vision that works in East Liverpool Hospital, and they can get me into this program, this place in Youngstown called Neil Kennedy. So these are places, East Liverpool and Youngstown, I don't know anybody.
An hour and a half away.
Yeah. So they send me home from Altman still feeling like absolute shit. And gave me like a prescription for some drug, and she wants me to go up to East Liverpool Hospital the next morning. And they take me there, and they said, well, we'll take you in here, help you detox. And then when a bed is open at this Neil Kennedy place, you can go there. I end up having to stay 5 days at East Liverpool Hospital.
Shit.
Beautiful place.
Is it
Great
really?
hospital. Great
Really?
hospital. I left a note the night before I left. I wrote a long note and just thanking them for everything. I was constantly telling the people that would come in, like, I'm sorry, you have to deal with me. You have to deal with real people, and I'm in here. They're like, no, you're fine. You need help. And so they're like, we're used to people coming in here withdrawing, and they're out of their minds and
freaking out,
fighting with us. And so they're like,
you're a pleasant experience.
Yeah, they're like, you're nice and you're apologetic and thankful for everything, and it was nice. I got room service there. I felt like shit the whole time I was there, but it was really nice.
Right.
My parents
it helped a lot, probably.
Yeah,
knowing that people were taking care of you, that actually wanted to take care of you, rather than just doing it for a paycheck.
Right.
Yeah.
It was a good experience. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to go home, but overall, it was a pretty good experience. Then I start finding out about Neil Kennedy. Of course, when I'm feeling better the last day I'm in the hospital, I'm reading reviews online, and I'm not liking the reviews I'm reading, and I'm like, and I was telling my parents, and they're like, you got to do this, and I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I just
don't want to.
Yeah. And I was told that it was going to be like a 9 or 10 day program. To come to find out that it's more like a 30-day program. So
shit.
I tell my work, and I think I'm done. And basically, I go in, I get a doctor's note from the hospital, give it to my parents. My dad took it to my boss at work, and he said then, he's like, tell Evan, he'll have his job when he gets out. Like,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
now, that's still kind of up in the air right now.
Yeah.
Because when I got out, I called, and he basically said they want to have a meeting with me, which I think is more or less probably going to be an ultimatum.
Right.
Like, you slip up, you're gone. I haven't had that meeting yet because the human resources lady just went in for surgery, and so she hasn't been back yet. I think I'm going to have it this week, so that's still kind of up in the air. But anywho, Neil Kennedy, I guess, how long have I been talking?
Doesn't matter. Keep going.
No, yeah.
I'll wrap it up with my Neil Kennedy experience. I am not going to give a positive review for this place. This is something I absolutely needed to do, and I'm glad I did it, because I needed to get away from everybody and just be around people that had the same problem I have. You had a lot of people in there that were heroin addicts, things like that, but I've gotten to the point now where I no longer go, well, they're doing heroin and killing themselves. And people, I met a good friend, a guy, I won't throw his name out there, but I met a good friend. He came in the same day as me, kind of gangsta, ghetto type of guy, but really, pure heart. Talked to him all the time. He had these dreads, tattoo on his face, mixed dude, and he's died 14 times.
Wow.
They've had to bring him from
Narcan.
Yeah, they've had to bring him back with Narcan 14 times.
Holy shit.
30 years old. Like, what are you doing, man? But I've gotten to the point where, I used to go into these places and look at someone like that and go,
At least that's not me.
that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm just drinking.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I'm just looking at it like a different drug, but it's all the same. Drug
All the
is a
same.
drug
Addiction
is a drug.
is addiction, man.
Yeah.
Doesn't
For
matter
sure.
what you're doing.
I'm lucky that in my young 20s I didn't get into something like that. I never had a desire to shoot up, so I never did, but I think if somebody would have had meth around me, I probably would have done that in a heartbeat. I just never really was around it.
Yeah.
I did my fair share of coke. I smoked crack before. Acid, shrooms when I was real young. Weed, obviously.
Everybody
Yeah.
smokes weed.
Pills, ecstasy. I love codeine, Vicodin, all that. I even overdosed when I was 18 on Yellow Jackets caffeine pills.
Damn.
I ended up in the hospital then.
Did you buy the
Holy
whole
shit.
store?
That was back when they still had the ephedrine.
Oh yeah. It didn't take that many to overdose on those fuckers.
No.
That's another story for another time. See, I'm not ready to give my lead yet because I just bounce all over the place. I got so many stories. You're not supposed to really until you've been sober for a year. But anywho, this place was like jail. I've been to jail 3 times, all for my DUIs. and this place was like a step up from jail. The difference was we had group all day. And people would go around going, I'm grouped out. Because it's basically going to an AA meeting like nonstop.
All day.
All day. We'd wake up they'd get us up at 7 o'clock. We'd go have breakfast at 8. You had time to get in the shower or whatever. Our showers, what they had is the main building, if you stayed in there, was called inpatient. And then they had 2 more buildings for guys. They had different names for them. They had the Doc's house and the Gelbman house. And they could each fit like 10 or so guys in those houses. So what would happen is they'd be down all day, and then they'd go back to those houses. Then they had 2 houses for the girls, Emory and Vision houses.
Okay.
And then in the inpatient, which is where I stayed the whole time I was there, that's another story. That's kind of weird, because here I am, 34. Usually they kept people down there that took a lot of medicines. A lot of medicines, a lot of medications.
A lot of medicine.
I took 1 Zoloft every morning, and I'm in my 30s, not in great shape, but in better shape than a lot of people coming through there, and they never moved me to one of the houses, which I thought was kind of weird, but that's a whole nother thing. So what they do is they get us up at 7, the people from the houses would come over. Our bathroom, we had a public bathroom, and they had these 2 showers in there that you're basically getting inside a phone booth to take a shower. Like you couldn't even turn around to scrub, I was like, this is jail. Right. This feels like how I've been to jail, and this feels like it. The only difference is instead of wearing orange jumpsuits, we got to bring clothes with us.
Did they wash them, or did you have to do it?
We had washers that we had to have Tide Pods, which is weird because people eat those.
Yeah, children do, yeah.
Which I still don't get to this day.
I still don't understand.
It didn't even do anything. It just made them feel like shit.
I was actually going to ask you, do you know anybody, either of you?
No. I work in a middle school, and I never heard of any of those kids doing it.
Does it even get you like a buzz or anything, or just make you sick?
Idea.
From what I hear, it didn't do anything to them. It was just like a challenge, and people did it.
I don't understand that at all.
Me either.
I mean, I guess people dare me to do things, and I do stupid things,
but then you see all kinds of drugs that people do that just fuck them up. It doesn't look fun at all. Not even, but that crocodile or whatever.
I heard about that.
It essentially gave you leprosy. You would lose limbs of your body and shit. Your fingers would fall off and shit. It ate away your limbs.
I actually
100% of the time.
I don't know. I just remember people telling me about it, and I saw pictures. Actually, Joe Rogan talked about it too on a podcast. But it was some gross shit. So gross they wouldn't even show it on YouTube. You know what I mean?
I heard about that in rehab. People talking about crocodile or something.
Why do that? Not only that, but it looks like it doesn't feel good at all. Most of these drugs that people are doing.
The things that people are doing now are insane. Bath salts.
Yeah.
And the thing with heroin is people are dying off heroin now because they're getting what is it in there?
Fentanyl.
Fentanyl. Yeah. That's it.
Which is killing Tom Petty and Prince and shit.
Yeah, they're getting fentanyl because people are cutting the stuff with all
to
these
make
different
it
things.
Yeah, and I've also heard with heroin addicts is if you hear of say that Mark's a heroin addict and I'm also a heroin addict and I know where he got it from and I hear Mark overdoses, I'm looking to get the same shit because I know that's gonna fuck me up.
Yeah. That's what I heard them say in there, which is scares me. I mean, it's
that's
insane.
The mindset people have.
That's
if I hear somebody overdoses and dies or almost dies, they resuscitate or whatever. I don't want to do that.
I'm not going near that shit.
Yeah, but people are like, I need to get that.
That's always me. Is well, I'll take it to this level, but I'm not going to take it to that level. But there's people out there that that's what I need because I'm not getting high off this other stuff anymore.
You're leveling up. You gotta level up.
Yeah, it's a video game.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
So we'd get up, we'd eat breakfast, and then we'd go to group. We'd have group from 9 to 12 with a smoke break in there, a 3-hour. Basically, it was 2 groups because you get the little smoke break and then after that, you'd have lunch. Then you go to group. Then you go from that group to another group. Then you'd have dinner. Then you had a couple more groups. Sometimes some certain days you had a half hour where it'd say leisure time where you could do what you wanted.
It wasn't much.
No.
Yeah.
By the time everything was done, it was almost 8 o'clock, and you had till 11 o'clock before lights out. If you stayed at one of the houses, you had cable, you could pretty much watch whatever. Down where I stayed in inpatient, we went in one of the group rooms that had a TV. The girls had one and the guys had one. We got 10 channels. Again, I'm this is jail.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly, just like jail. You get 3, 5, and 8.
yeah, that's pretty much what we had. And we'd watch the same crappy sitcoms that I don't watch when I'm on the out, you know. I would talk about it like it was jail. On the outside, you know, we do this.
Right.
And then I'd go back, and I have this little room with another guy. My bed's here. There's maybe close to 10 feet in between our beds, you know, little kid beds.
Yeah.
No
single
TV
beds,
in there. Yeah. No TV, nothing.
You weren't allowed to have your phone in there.
No, as soon as I got there, I had to strip down naked in front of the nurse, like completely naked. My peen was hanging out and everything.
My peen.
Like just.
That's right there. That's enough for me now. I'm like, I don't want to get naked in front of some.
No.
As soon as I got there, and then they take all my clothes, like the stuff I packed to. They go through everything I packed because they make sure I'm not bringing drugs in. They took. I had like just an electric trimmer, not like a full blown razor. Took that. Took my aftershave.
Because you can drink aftershave.
Yeah. They wouldn't let you have shampoo, any of that stuff. Weren't allowed to wear a hat in there.
Because you could be hiding something?
I guess. They said you come in and they had cameras and people would like come in like this, hide and stuff. And just crazy stuff. And they took all my stuff, threw it in the dryer at like the hottest temperature ever to kill any bed bugs, make sure you didn't have bed bugs. So all my stuff shrunk. So now I'm mad because I'm very particular about my laundry.
Yeah.
And my t-shirts are all shrunk now. And
That
I'm
would
like,
piss me off.
wrecked one of my hats, went through the dryer, and it was my Smashing Pumpkins Zero hat, and it's all smashed up now. Yeah, I know.
A.
That place is getting a bad Yelp review.
Yeah, dude.
It just like, and here's the thing: there were some counselors there that did really want to help and were there, but there just wasn't enough counselors for people. Half the time, we ran our own groups. This is how bad it is. We would go in, and they'd say, like, a counselor would pop their head in and be like, "Who's running?" And they'd get somebody that had been there for a while. "Hey, can you run it? Like, this person over here." "Yeah, I got it." And luckily, when I got there were some really good people there. When I first got in there was a lot of people that really wanted help. I met some good guys. The guy I was talking about earlier that played in bands, another guy that really kind of got me closer with God again. We read scripture together.
That's awesome.
They did offer yoga in there twice a week, and I started going to yoga. Loved it.
I love yoga.
I loved it. I had never done it in my life. Absolutely
It's
loved
fucking hard.
it. It is hard.
It's so hard.
I woke up sore the next day.
So fun.
It was amazing, and she was very spiritual, and would like read scripture while she did it. You know, she was big time Christian and play like Lifehouse and Skillet and stuff.
I don't know about that.
You know?
Like, let's turn that down. But I guess at that point, any music's better
Any
than
music
nothing.
was nice, you know, and so I met a lot of really good people, and I really needed it. But like they would just tell us to run group, and we just run it. You know, somebody would read the prayer for the day or the word for the day, whatever, and then we'd all comment on it, and it was good. It was good. I didn't care that the counselors weren't that involved because I was getting what I needed. About 2 weeks in, a lot of those people, the really good people that I met in there, were leaving. They were graduating. A lot of the people coming in were people that were court ordered to be there. I don't think
They didn't want to be there.
they didn't have a desire. They were doing it to get their sentence lowered. They were the people that if they signed themselves out, because I could sign myself out at any time, but if they sign themselves out, they're going to have to go back to court. They're going to get a longer jail sentence.
They were getting a benefit, for sure.
You get these people coming in, and there's girls there. In jail, you don't get to see the girls. There's girls there. It was like a high school. I called it Neil Kennedy High. There was this big block you could walk around in the middle, like when we had our free time or whatever, and these guys would see any girl, like these half decent looking girls, not even, you know, and they're in rehab, you're in rehab, you don't have anything to offer them, they don't have anything to offer you.
They're catcalling these girls.
And they're just following them, trying to get digits and stuff. You know, I met some girls in there that I talked to, friendly conversations and stuff, but like to go to rehab to try to get a girl is just it's insane to me.
It's like, I can't see that's very positive.
I've made some friends in there that I'm already friends with on Facebook, so, you know, if they see this video, they'll be like, eh. but I mean, it's the truth. Like, that's how it was, and it was insane. It was like a high school, and you'd constantly hear them come over the monitor. They have cameras everywhere, and they'd come over the monitor. Guys on their side, girls on their side in the cafeteria. people step away from there was this guy that had white glasses in there. He was a nice guy, but we called him Vanilla Ice. And one day I was in the bathroom and I heard over the speaker, "Well, the gentleman with the white glasses and the purple shirt step away from the women." And I start cracking up in the bathroom because I knew exactly who they were talking about.
Yeah, that is funny.
I mean, I could tell you some funny stories from Neil Kennedy, like just
That
things
had to
that
be
you-
that'd be a trip, man. Just seeing all these different people that you don't come in contact with on a normal
And
day.
I'm there. There's people in there that kind of know the same people. Just like when you go to jail. Oh, I know so and so. I go in there and I know no one. Finally, the last week I was there, I met a girl that was from Stark County. She went to Sandy Valley. We knew some of the same people. She was a good 5 years younger than me, but we knew a lot of the same people.
Oh, that's cool.
I won't name drop her on here, but
Right.
But for the most part, I'd say Stark County, and I'd go, Football Hall of Fame, and they'd be like, "Oh, I know it's in Ohio."
Fuck that.
A lot of people didn't know Canton, Akron at all. They're all in.
And they're from
Youngstown.
Ohio. Yeah.
They live in Youngstown, or
Right.
a lot of people were from Cleveland, the Warren area.
Okay.
so-
That's right in between Youngstown and Cleveland.
And I'm like, I know where Warren is.
Right. Been there a few times. For
How do
some
you not
fights
know
and
where
stuff.
Canton is?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like the 4th or 5th biggest city in Ohio. How do you not get?
I didn't understand it. But anyway, to end the rambling about Neil Kennedy, the people coming in were, I wasn't enjoying it. And some of our groups near the end of when I was there were getting kind of tense. We'd have a big group and people would sit there and talk about, when it was their turn to talk, they'd say, there's a lot of personalities in here because we had our older people and then we had all these young kids coming in, and it was I was right in the middle. And it's a lot of people aren't here for the same reason, and we kind of got to watch ourselves and try to get along. And it was just it was changing, and I wanted out. And I told them from the beginning, they wanted to keep me. I actually should still be in there till January 3rd.
Oh, wow.
And I told them when I got there, I'm going to spend Christmas with my family and my daughter. I don't get to see my daughter as much anymore because she does her own thing.
And she's what, sophomore this year?
She's 16. She's
Yeah,
a junior.
Right.
in
She's
high
junior in high school.
And so I wanted to spend Christmas with her, and I told them that from the get-go, and they're like, well, because it's a money-making machine.
Right.
My insurance is paying for it. They're going to keep
They're
me
still
there as
getting
long.
a check, yeah.
January 3rd would have been past 30 days for me, but they don't want to let you go on a holiday. They don't want to let you go on a weekend. They have all these rules. It's a money-making thing.
Yeah. Well, which is anything to do with the medical field is a money-making. I mean, yeah, there are people in there that want good for these people.
There were people that work there.
But there's also people with their hands out, without you being here, we don't make our money.
Yeah.
So.
Overall, that facility was so disorganized. It was one of the most disorganized companies I've ever come in contact with.
And you needed, and people that are, I feel, in your situation need consistency and
Structure.
organization, structure, all of that.
For sure.
But I am thankful I went through it. I got what I needed out of it, and I learned through that. I learned from some people I talked to, especially my one friend Chris, who I still have kept in contact with since I've gotten out. Is you got to work your own program. You need to take all the advice and the things that you get, but sometimes you have to close off everything else and not pay attention to what's going on. You'd have people in there just still kind of glorifying the drugs. They'd be at lunch talking about all the drugs they did, and and it's almost like they're you can tell they're just ready to get back out.
Right. And what I feel like if you're in there for a reason. You better try to at least embrace what they're doing.
When I went to the AOD programs in jail, I knew I wasn't gonna quit, but I still tried to kind of embrace it, and get something out of it. It was there.
There's little life lessons in everything you do, and that's a big life lesson that you should And I think from just talking to you, I feel like you've done everything the right way, and you, as of right now, I mean, you're doing the best I think that you've ever done. I told you when we got here, I was like, just the 5 minutes we rode in the car together, you're talking more clear. It's different than it used to be. I don't know. I can't explain it. It's hard to put in words, but you're speaking more clear. It's just I'm happy to see you this way.
I've had other people say that, and it's to me, I feel like I sound exactly the same, but
it seems genuine this time around.
Right,
basically.
it does. That's what I guess it is. It's just it's not talking better. It just sounds better to me. It sounds like you want to be here.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Whatever I'm trying to say is...
I like it.
Whatever works, man.
How long did I go on, man? I feel like...
Whatever. 45 minutes.
That was therapeutic, Mark, so I appreciate you guys letting me.
No, it's all good.
This is what we wanted to do. I wanted to hear your story. You've been one of my closest friends for 12 years now, and it's been a concern of mine to know what's going on, but like I didn't want to pry. I didn't want to kind of speak out of my lane about it. Like I know what to say exactly, but I'm happy that you came here and explained it to us.
Yeah. I was just kind of letting you go. Like I figured you'd say what you wanted to say and what you needed to say, so we just kind of let it go.
This is awesome. This is great, man. This is exactly. I'm happy that you came and did this.
I am too.
I have a couple questions if you don't mind.
Sure.
They're not too personal. Like how? I guess they are, but like. How is your daughter like handling this? Because obviously she's old enough to know. Like she's not like my daughter, where I can be like, Daddy has to go somewhere for a while. And like, she knows what's going on.
Absolutely, she 100% does. And I think for a while I could kind of hide it from her. I mean, I think she always kind of knew as she was getting older. 10, 11, 12, but. For the most part, I think she knew, like, the one time I went to jail. But for the most part, I didn't drink around her.
Right.
There were a couple times when she was really young where I actually drank with Carrie, her mom. Mm-hmm. But we'd wait till, she went to bed.
Right.
And so, I mean, she'd known that I drank here and there, but didn't really know I had a problem till more recently. Probably in the last 3 or 4 years, she knows that I have a problem.
Well, how is she, how is she taking it?
She's become more distant to me. She doesn't talk to me about it necessarily. I'll like sometimes send her a text, tell her what I'm doing. I think she knows I was going to get help because everybody else knew. And I've told her if she ever wants to talk about things, we can. I said I'm always here for you. And she'll tell me, she'll text me back, she'll say thank you and I love you. And, we still have a pretty good bond there, but I know that she keeps her distance from me more than she used to. Part of it is age. When she got to be about 13, I think is really before she started to notice 12, 13, and she was already not wanting to come around as much because of friends. I know there was a particular incident, though, that one day I was coming home after a bender of doing a lot of stuff. This is probably a few years back. And my parents kind of caught me on the way coming in, knew I was completely messed up and Paige was there. I was trying to get home. And usually I just, could just mesh in. But my parents kind of called me out, so I left. Because I was like, I'm not dealing with this, and I just left the house.
And she would come on Sundays, correct?
Yeah, she used to always come on Sundays. She was there, and I left, and I know that because she went back and talked to her mom. I didn't get it from my parents. I got it from Carrie, came back to me and said, well, your parents kind of went into stuff with Paige. They took it upon themselves to tell Paige.
Probably not their bet.
I have some resentment to my parents. I know they're just they were kind of saying, do you see what your dad's doing? You don't want to end up like that. They were using it to tell her not to get involved in drinking.
They almost went into it like an old school mentality.
They
like
did.
This is what happens when you do this. See, do you want this? And that might not be the best way to do it.
No, I was pretty resentful after because of course they didn't tell me they had a talk with Paige. Paige didn't tell me. Carrie did because Paige went back and told Carrie what they were saying, and Carrie was
nothing's better than baby mama.
Baby
drama.
mama coming down on you. Carrie came.
Believe me, I know that it sucks.
Yeah. She said, what's this about? You came home all messed up, and then you left, and then they were lecturing Paige about she doesn't want to be like you and do this stuff. And I'm like, jeez. It probably caused me to drink that night.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I guess I never think about it like that. Like when you're giving them shit, it probably just makes it worse. Makes them want to do it more. Yeah,
it's nobody's fault but my own, but there are definitely things. Even my parents now trying to keep me from doing things, and I'm like, I'm over 30 years old and stuff. I build a resentment.
Right.
I built a resentment in that Neil Kennedy place. The first 2 weeks were like, I got a pretty good experience, and then the last week I was there, I was like, get me out of here. Now I'm starting to feel like I want to drink.
Right.
And that's not right.
That's not what that place is for.
Right. That's not right. That's still me. That's me finding an excuse. And I realize that. But it is, there are things like that it's just, they're still triggers to me.
All right. And you might always have those.
I probably will.
But I'm hoping, see, you're what, 34, almost 35 now?
Yeah, I'll be 35 in February.
So hopefully by when we're talking, because I'm always going to have a relationship with you, hopefully when we're talking you're 40, you're going to say, I don't have these cravings anymore, and these trigger points, I kind of brush them off, like, fuck off. That's my mentality on shit.
Yeah.
It's like stuff that like triggers my anger or my depression. I'm to the point now where I just go, fuck off, man. I don't need it. I don't care if you don't want to be in my life or whatever, or you think I'm doing something wrong. Then fuck off. Mind your own business. And I hope that's where you can get to, instead of going, well, I'm pissed off, so now I want to drink. You know what I'm trying? I guess.
I second that notion.
Yeah.
Another thing, real quick, that I learned, kind of go off what you were just saying, is, they tell us that our brain kind of stops maturing once we really get into the drugs, like when you're an addict. So I can speak for myself, I never really developed good coping skills. Because from the time I was, in 18, 19, 20, I'd say I started getting really bad in my early 20s, that I kind of stopped maturing, and my coping skills were to go drink.
Mm-hmm.
So now that's what I go to. Everything is drinking. I'm mad, I want to drink. I'm sad, I want to drink. All these things. I've never developed coping skills.
Instead of getting on a treadmill and running 5 miles, being like, and then when you get off, you feel better.
Exactly.
To me, that's what I do. Is I do something like that. And that's the same feeling of when I get done. I'm like, fuck it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, that's what you were trying to find when you were drinking was,
right.
It wasn't that big of a deal. What the fuck am I so mad? But the damage is already done at this point.
Yeah, so I kind of come off, probably a lot of times I've come off really immature, and I sound like an 18-year-old because, my brain
stopped developing.
Stopped developing certain things. Yeah, I still have certain things, that it's developed. But
don't they say your brain doesn't stop really maturing until you're 30?
No, they say it's like 24 or 25, I think.
Yeah.
That's why, because I started smoking weed at 16, and I was like, fuck, dude, I wish I would have waited till, 26 or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it affects you. And
definitely does.
You don't develop the same way other people that, never do these drugs or never get hooked.
I'm going to have to use
to
my
them.
phone real quick so we can cut this part out.
No, I got you. Actually, I got a pee, so maybe we should just take a little breather.
Yeah, that was a lot.
All right, we took a brief little intermission, piss break. I guess did we wrap up the Evan thing there?
I mean, more or less.
Yeah, we were asking questions, and I've got to say that was probably the best hour of JAMUP that we've had.
It's definitely the most serious, public service announcement type shit, for sure.
And we don't mean to make
it was
a
very
joke
therapeutic.
No, it was great. I'm happy that I was telling you off camera how happy we are that you came on and gave us this
for sure
this story and if it helped you, even better,
Yeah, it definitely did.
It's a real twist for the JAMUP podcast.
Yeah, usually
people probably didn't see this coming at all.
You say Evan Wiley's your guest, and I said
they were like, "Whoa, sweet."
No, I wasn't gonna say that, but something goofy and stupid.
Yeah.
Not only that, but I was drinking on the last one, so they're like, "Oh shit."